my 24M stepsister, 22F, and I fell in love, and now we're stuck in a secret relationship. I'm not really sure where to start with this one, but I guess it's best to go back to the beginning. My mom married Emma's dad when I was 14 and she was 12. It wasn't a sudden thing. They'd been dating for a couple of years before that, but when they finally got married, it meant moving in together and trying to blend two very different families. It wasn't easy. When Emma and I first became step-siblings, I honestly wasn't sure what to think of her. We were both dealing with a whole new family dynamic in our own ways. I was moody and resentful, missing my old life, while she was quiet and kept to herself. I guess it's typical teenager stuff, but at the time, it felt like we'd never get along. But somewhere along the way, things changed. I don't think there was a specific moment when we became friends. It just sort of happened gradually. We both had our awkward phases, bad haircuts, questionable music tastes, and all that. I remember helping her with her math homework, and she helped me get through the breakup with my first girlfriend when I was 16. It wasn't romantic back then. It was more like, hey, we're stuck in this situation together, so we might as well make the best of it. We got to a point where we could joke around and confide in each other like true siblings. But even as we got closer, there was always this weird tension that I couldn't quite explain. I chalked it up to our family's odd situation. After all, it's not exactly normal to suddenly have a sister who isn't really your sister, right? We both made our own friends and had our own lives, but no matter what, we always seemed to find our way back to each other. Fast forward a few years, and I went off to college. It was the first time in a while that we weren't living under the same roof. I thought that maybe distance would put some of those confusing feelings to rest. I even started dating someone at school, but it never really felt right. Emma and I kept in touch the whole time, texting, calling, sharing all the little things that happen in our day-to-day lives. I found myself looking forward to talking to her more than my actual girlfriend, which looking back probably should have been a red flag. Then came the summer after my first year of college. Being back home felt a bit weird at first, but Emma and I picked up right where we left off like no time had passed. Except, things were different. She had grown up a lot, more confident, more sure of herself. And I couldn't help but notice how much she had changed. We started hanging out more, just the two of us. We'd go for long drives, visit old places we used to hang out at as kids, and talk about everything under the sun. It felt easy and familiar, but there was always this unspoken tension between us. One night, we were sitting on the roof outside my window, something we used to do as teenagers, and she leaned her head on my shoulder. It wasn't unusual, but something about it felt different. I remember my heart racing, but I convinced myself that it was just nostalgia, that we were both missing the simpler times before college and life got complicated. We didn't talk about it, but I think we both knew there was something more to that moment. That fall, when I went back to school, we stayed closer than ever. We'd FaceTime late at night, talk about how weird it was being adults and how much we missed those summer nights. I knew I shouldn't be feeling this way, but I couldn't help it. She was the person I could be completely honest with, who knew everything about me. And I felt like I knew her in a way that no one else ever could. Then came last Thanksgiving. It was the first time we were both back home together since that summer. Our parents had gone to bed early, and we stayed up in the living room, talking and laughing like always. At some point, she put on an old song we both liked and pulled me up to dance. It was silly, and we both laughed, but then she kissed me. I wish I could say that I pushed her away, that I did the right thing, but I didn't. I kissed her back. We spent the whole night talking after that about what it meant, what it could do to our family, whether we should just pretend it never happened. But neither of us really wanted to forget it. We told each other it was a mistake, that it would never happen again. But of course it did. That was almost a year ago. Since then, we've been secretly seeing each other whenever we can. It's hard, balancing our normal family lives with whatever this is between us. We try to act normal around our parents, but I think they can tell something is different. My mom keeps asking why I don't seem interested in dating anyone, and Emma's dad made a comment once about how we seem closer than ever. I laughed it off, but inside I was panicking. Emma and I have talked about coming clean to our parents, but every time we do, it feels like we're staring into a black hole. What we even say? Hey mom, dad, we know this is going to sound weird, but we're in love. It sounds ridiculous, even to me. And what would it do to them? They're happy together, genuinely happy. The last thing I want is to ruin their marriage because of this. And it's not just about them. We've kept this a secret from everyone, our friends, my old college roommates, even Emma's best friend. I feel like we're constantly looking over our shoulders, terrified that someone will find out. It's exhausting, but at the same time, when I'm with her, it feels like it's all worth it. I try to think about what would happen if we broke things off, but every time I do, it feels like losing a piece of myself. She's the person I could talk to about anything, who understands me in a way no one else ever has. I know it sounds like a mess, and maybe it is, but how can something that feels so right be so wrong? I'm turning to Reddit because I genuinely don't know what to do. I know this probably sounds like some trashy soap opera plot, but it's my life, and I'm stuck. I'm scared that if we keep going, we'll eventually get caught and blow up our whole family. But I'm also terrified that if we end things, I'll lose the person who means the most to me. Has anyone ever been in a situation even remotely like this? Is there a way to make this work, or do we need to just end it and try to move on? Any advice or perspective would be really appreciated, even if it's tough to hear.